welcome to Studio 5. We've got a great variety of uplifting entertainment stories ahead. We're going to take a look at a new documentary exploring life after death. We're also taking a deeper dive into a music group we brought you a few weeks ago. They are One House Music. And then an NFL player reveals his secret ability to see the open field. All this is ahead, but first, let's fire up our countdown of the top 5 stories in the world of uplifting entertainment. Here, number 4 and number 5.
At number 5.
It's time.
What wondrous love is this?
A sneak peek at season 4 of The Chosen, ahead of its release February 1st, 2024.
My followers won't understand. The Son of Man must suffer many things. But you are the Son of God.
And some big news about how far-reaching the show is becoming.
The Chosen, the first ever multi-season television show about the life of Jesus, is making history again, this time for being broadcast to more than 10 million residents on the island of Madagascar in their native language.
I know it's hard. Man makes it much harder.
To bear the dreadful curse.
When he leans on his own understanding.
Footage released on the series' Instagram page shows 3,000 orphans in the African nation being introduced to Jesus Christ.
At number 4, a look at this year's inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and memories from the ceremony.
Sheryl Crow and Chaka Khan made the crowd roar at the 2023 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony Friday night in New York. The Queen of Funk did a medley of her hits, including Ain't Nobody, and the Southern singer-songwriter knocked out an electric version of her If It Makes You Happy, alongside Olivia Rodrigo. Elton John came out of retirement to perform and toast his songwriting partner Bernie Taupin. Inductee Willie Nelson joined Dave Matthews and Chris Stapleton, combined to perform a rollicking On the Road Again, which got a standing ovation. The Rock Hall show is on Disney Plus and will air highlights on ABC TV New Year's Day.
And so the countdown begins. We've got the remaining 3 stories coming up in just a few moments. Right now, we take a look at a new film from Angel Studios. It's called After Death. It's a powerful documentary with people with near-death experiences. Filmmaker Stephen Gray joins us for Studio 5 First Look.
I think the near-death experience is where science meets religion. Doctors resuscitate.
I can't be dead because I've never felt more alive.
I've never heard these experiences before. Hogwash. What I've tried to do is put data out there that's been scientifically, rigorously collected.
What really convinced me is that when they would come back, they actually saw what was going on in the room.
What inspired the journey to create this?
It was born out of loss. So my brother-in-law, Marco, he was killed in a car wreck in 2012. Mm-hmm. And that kind of caused me to ask questions about, what happens after we die.
They very commonly see a light. Deceased relatives come to meet them.
The first person I saw was my grandfather. Now I'm traveling like a rocket ship, straight upwards. And with that... Oh my God, I'm alive.
I found, the stories are so profound, so incredible. But it was actually, it was the kind of chorus of stories is what was kind of, grabbing my attention. It's like, there's 30 different people, very different backgrounds, very different situations in terms of how they died. And they're having these profound experiences that seem to overlap.
It was 1969, a beautiful day to fly. We were about 100 feet above the ground when I started noticing that something was wrong. It was engine failure. Trees were filling our windshield. I found myself above the crash site. And while I'm processing what I'm looking at, I can see a pilot, and this is me.
Dr. Jeffrey Long in our film, he has a study of over 4,000 near-death experiences. And those are collected from all around the world, multiple languages. It's not just North America. And yeah, it just kind of points to, again, the overlapping nature of these experiences.
But they typically occur in a very consistent process.
We began to go down the river,
and my boat became pinned. I was drowning.
The first thing that happens is called an out-of-body experience.
So we have 3 people in the film. We have 14 people altogether who clinically die between seconds to an hour and 45 minutes. And we have 3 hellish experiences in the film.
But not every near-death experience is a good one. 23% had hellish experiences. I saw a black tunnel.
I mean, just falling.
I wasn't in fear, I was in terror.
It was just darkness.
Put me back.
And for me, it's kind of like, well, what's the purpose, right? Like, it's a horrific experience that they had. All 3 individuals, completely changed their life around for the better. And maybe that was the purpose, the glimpse of seeing that. I think many would say that would be the reason. They definitely look at life a little differently, and they're very happy to be alive today.
This really does show that there is life after death.
If you had to pull something that made it on the cutting room floor that you wish got in, what would it be?
It's a great question. We had this scene with John Burke, who's a main character in the film, who had studied near-death experiences for over 30 years, 1,000 different accounts. And he actually came to faith through near-death experiences. And so there was a scene where he described what that looked like for him. And the thing that he started to do was he compared the descriptions of what people were seeing in their near-death experience to what text was showing in these different religions. But the Bible actually had 38 out of the 40 common descriptors of what people would describe in their near-death experience all around the world. I mean, that number is massive, and that actually tipped the scale for him to accept Christ and come to faith.
You actually, so deep in the weeds with this, if you, how did it change you?
Oh, it completely changed me. So 2012, I wasn't sure if I really believed if there was a heaven. I was raised in a church and considered myself Christian all my life till that point. But in 2012, honestly, I wasn't sure where I stood on that. It was chaos in my life, and so me asking the question of, is there heaven? Does this actually exist? I was on shaky ground at that point. But it was all of these different people's experiences that profoundly, impacted my life. I have a security in my faith, and it's caused me to just kind of double down on, even reading God's word and exploring, what the Bible has to say about this.
I knew that I was being held by Christ purely as I know anything. I know it sounds crazy.
After Death is in theaters right now.
Still to come.
I'd be lying if I said I don't need your love. I'd be lying if I said I don't need you, God.
They blend contemporary Christian with gospel. Members of One House Music talk to us about their unique sound and their life-giving message. At number 3.
How do you feel right now, sir?
My problem with a lot of things in life is I float above it. That's just from childhood, that's from abuse. So every moment's like, you're okay, you're safe. It's just emotion, it's just feeling, it's love.
It's a sneak peek at Maxine's Baby, a documentary on the life and times of media mogul Tyler Perry, before it streams to Amazon next week, November 17th.
Tyler was making hit after hit, and finally, people had to wake up.
My mother said, don't you ever let anybody tell you who you are. You know who you are.
I can't watch it without cringing. I think he crossed the line.
What I will not do is change because some critics think it's not art. In the middle of all of this success, I'm dealing with my mother slowly dying. I couldn't find my way out of it.
At number 2.
Well, you know what he's doing there. He's thanking the Lord that I'm out here living and having this opportunity.
An emotional weekend return to Cincinnati for Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin. And he used his team's road trip to thank the 10 medical staffers who worked to save his life in January, tweeting this photo and this message. Last night I had dinner with my heroes, 10 of the UC medical staff that helped save my life. I surprised them with a scholarship named after each of them that will support youth in Cincy to chase their dreams. Wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them.
They have a place in my heart forever. This is my third family. I got Pittsburgh, I got Buffalo, and I got Cincinnati. So, you know, it's love. And being able to get knocked down and have a problem in front of the entire world and then come into that same stadium and stand in whatever role that I have and support my team, I think that shows a lot of strength, a lot of courage, a lot of pride.
The #1 story is coming up in just a few moments. Right now, we turn to a unique sound called One House. It blends contemporary Christian and gospel.
I be lying if I said I don't need your love. I be lying if I said I don't need your God.
This is the sound of One House, cutting-edge creatives on a mission to deliver hope and victory to all who listen to their music. A dream come true for Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts and her husband Torre, whose ministry gave birth to this music.
This project, as we were writing and creating this project, we were really thinking about people who aren't of faith, who don't think that faith is relevant to them. And so we wrote about human themes, universal themes that all of us struggle with.
There are 7 members of this band from different backgrounds, including Torre's son, Isaiah.
I know that we've been here a million times, now I only want freedom.
For me, I've always had a big draw to music, so I always, understood that whatever I did musically was probably going to be a part of my ministry. But I also have a podcast with my friends and I. It's actually coming out of one church, and we talk about a lot of the same things that I talk about in my music, real world issues, what's going on in society, and really just spreading light on, how God is, intervening in those different topics and conversations.
I just want freedom from all of these demons.
Music man Brunish Charles is also a member of the band. He's worked with the likes of Major, Travis Green, and the list goes on. But he believes this new sound is special.
This project specifically, compared to everything else that I've ever worked on, really just uncovers the human and shows like, hey, this is who I am. We wanted to go outside of the members of the group to collaborate with other writers that was possibly on the mainstream side or kind of dabbled in both ways, and like Christian and mainstream.
Our Father said, ask and he will give, seek and you will find.
And singer Kyle McHargue also praises the group's unique sound.
I love worship music, I love Christian music, but oftentimes it's difficult to find songs that feel very relatable, that I can listen to like on the PCH highway, or a song that I can listen to in the gym that feels good and current. And so for me, this whole EP just feels raw. It feels real. It feels vulnerable. And it's songs that I can get with.
A relatable sound, still grounded with a focus on the gospel.
I think that being a part of this new sound that I feel like is coming into the kingdom, I think it makes it that much more special. Being one of the people that are helping kind of push that wave. And so I am honored to be in it. I really feel called to this assignment that we have to really push this new sound into the kingdom and, get as many people as we can to really just hear some things that are good for their spirit.
I be lying if I said I don't need you, God.
One House's album is called Eyes Up. It's available wherever you purchase, download, or stream your music. Well, we have to take a break, but before we do, it is time to share this week's story and pictures. Here's your Studio 5 snapshot this week.
It's a musical take on the greatest story ever told. The Journey to Bethlehem shares the life of Mary and Joseph like you've never seen or heard before. The award-winning music producer and mastermind behind Glee, High School Musical, Camp Rock, and Rock of Ages, Adam Anders, assembled a star-studded cast to bring audiences this new Christmas musical. Fiona Palomo plays Mary, Milo Manheim plays Joseph, Joel Smallbone, Lecrae, and Antonio Banderas round out the cast. We'll hear more from them later in the show, but for now, this is this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. Still ahead, Chargers running back Joshua Kelly talks about his spidey sense on the football field and the best days of his life.
It was one of the best days of my life. I was like, hey man, I haven't been baptized yet. I was like, this is something I got to do.
at number 1.
An angel came to me. It's hard to have faith.
It's hard to believe.
Look at the star.
The Journey to Bethlehem is in theaters this week. It's the story of Jesus as a big screen musical.
It's good to be king.
It's good to be king, but to have the absolute authority.
With Antonio Banderas as Herod.
I am a lover of music, and I think I am an actor because of musicals. And in fact, I own a theater. I am doing more musicals than traditional theater. It can just take us to emotion in a faster track.
Rapper Lecrae plays the angel Gabriel.
Harry, God has chosen you to have a son, the King of all kings.
Tell me, if you could, who in your mind's eye is Gabriel? Who is he?
What I liked most about being Gabriel was the significance of the role. I'm literally the person who gets to deliver to Mary that she is the one who will bear the Savior of the world.
You are to be the mother to a Savior and King. You cower before no one.
And that wraps this week's countdown. That was your number 1 story. Welcome back to Studio 5. All-American Joshua Kelly's ability to see an open hole in the defense and break through is something he calls his spidey sense. The running back loves playing football for the Chargers, but he doesn't just see himself as number 25. Kelly says he draws his identity from who he is in Christ.
3 years ago, when I first heard my name get called to the Chargers, I was like, wow, that's crazy. You know, staying right here, staying right home, Inglewood, SoFi, there's a purpose of why God wanted me here. So I'm just trying to do my best, man, for the team, for the community. So that's been like the hugest blessing for me. Just trying to leave the place better than when I found it. I love football. I understand that like my purpose is bigger than a contract. My purpose is bigger than a touchdown. It's to inspire people and do my best on this platform. You're playing professional football, but at the same time, bro, it's like, what is your identity? I'm Joshua Kelly. I'm not number 25. Everyone sees you as 25, but I'm Josh Kelly. This is who I am. This is my identity, is I'm in Christ. And my family members, my wife, they all remind me, regardless how things go, you go out there and ball out. Don't take 25 everywhere you go. Just be grateful for who you are and just stay true to yourself. Me and my best friends today made a pact that's like, look, when we become fathers, we're gonna be there. Like, we're gonna be there for our kids. We made that deal. So, man, I'm trying to hold myself accountable to it because I know the struggle and the pain that goes through that. My wife, Michaela, man, she is awesome. She's also been someone who's helping me in my relationship with God. My mother, like even to this day, will text me a verse, hope you're doing well. Just reminding me about like, how are you praying? Are you seeking Him first? I couldn't be here without the people that God put in my life. I'm still in the process. It's like, man, yeah, it's cool. Like to do our best, to go out here and be the best person we can, all these people cheering for us. But when that day comes, when we have to step away, it's like what part of you as a man is gonna be there? And there's times when you will go through like bad moments in your life and like, man, where is God? But then you see like there's something that He's working within you. Like, wow, this is really like a relationship. It's a friendship. That was the biggest things what Jesus did. You know, He came to love people, saw people where they were at. And I think that's what we're supposed to do.
Again, you can see Joshua Kelly's secret abilities on the field during this football season as he plays for the Los Angeles Chargers. Hey, welcome back to Studio 5. As you know, music helps us to bring this show to you every week, and this week's soundtrack comes from Jacqueline Carr. Take a listen and you'll hear why I believe God is what's playing in my ear this week. Well, on that musical note, we are just about out of time for this week's edition of Studio 5, so let's take a moment and look ahead to next week's rundown.
Storing, nirenktin.
It's the series following the life and ministry of Jesus.
There are those for whom this will set off a series of events.
What wondrous love is this, oh my soul?
My followers won't understand.
Season 4 of The Chosen is around the corner, and the series writer, director, and producer, Dallas Jenkins, joins us in Studio 5 for an exclusive preview.
You know, season 3, one of the themes was, "Come to me, you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Something that we see in this season is Jesus weary and heavy laden. There's a lot of joy moments, but there's also some sad moments, and this time you see a little bit of it from Jesus.
Be sure to join us for that story and so much more come next week. Well, as for this week, though, we've got just a few moments left in the show. We want to give that time to filmmaker Stephen Gray.
My hope is that that really this film kind of does to, for people what it did for me. This is 7 years in the making for myself, but I'd explored this topic for many years, and my hope is that kind of people take away what I got out of it, which is really, for myself, it's like I realized after losing my brother-in-law that life is fragile and it can be short. We don't know how much time we have here. He was here one moment, gone the next, and I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. None of us are guaranteed that. And so, and I think it's just to kind of spread hope that we do have that hope, for heaven. We do have that hope, even for reunion after death. And I think for this life here, for the time that we have, what could we do with the time that we have left here?
Stephen Gray, the director of the film Afterlife. It is such a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 and this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you, and then please come back right here and see where Studio 5 takes you next week. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.